Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cocktail Classified. We are here at Arizona Cocktail Week doing some recordings. I am here with my friend Will. Will, welcome.
Thank you, Patrick. Excited to be here.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from. I know who you are, obviously, but to our listeners and viewers who are.
Absolutely. We go way back, right?
Yeah, we do.
William Brooks, Global Ambassador for Tequila Herradura. So it's really excited to be here in Arizona this week for Arizona Cocktail Week. I get to hang out, explore the world, and see what amazing things bartenders and industry folk are doing.
Yeah.
And how they're changing our industry and where we're going next.
For sure. How long? I've known you for like 7 years, 8 years now. Like when I first moved to Houston, I think you were also one of the first.
Time flies, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I feels like yesterday,
Yeah.
just there's so much going on in Houston and just the way we've connected over the years. It's been great.
Yeah, it's for sure. Like a lot of the podcasts we've been doing, it's more people that I've just met through the industry. Like I've met everybody, like I met you, I met the Milagro team, like all around the same time. And like, I just like everybody's kind of progressed into the roles that they are. Like I met with you, I think you were in marketing or you were doing something with Brown Foreman at the time, right?
Absolutely.
With Greenhouse.
Yeah, with Greenhouse. That was kind of like the origin story for me,
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like we've all changed so much and you watch everyone's path grow and evolve. And what's so cool about that is we still get to cling to those like connection points from the past, but develop new reasons and new stories as we move forward.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about you. I know you're the global brand ambassador for Herradura, right? This is something you kind of worked into, and you have more of like the marketing side of it, right? You haven't bartended directly, right? You've kind of been more in that. So how has that been as perspective wise? Like you have appreciation for the trade, obviously, right? How have you kind of morphed into the world?
Yeah, Patrick, it was a weird journey for me. You know, it's an unconventional approach. I started out. I went to a culinary school at university. And I just fell in love with food and beverage naturally, all right? And so I started off moving trailers around the country for Jack Daniels, like big trailers. I was like a rig guy, so tons of time on the road doing music festivals and stuff like that. And I had a unique opportunity I was living in North Carolina at the time, moved down to Texas to start an engraving program where we'd bring a van around and engrave bottles, and that's around the time you and I met, really, was like just that transition from that. So I started doing that and I found an immense passion of getting into cocktail bars too and seeing that craft and that art form. It was sort of like what I learned in school about food being applied to drinks in a way I had never really seen before. So that was very enticing for me. And I decided to make a really cool move over to Greenhouse. And that's when we really started to blossom. That gave me the opportunity to move into a blend of consumer and trade advocacy and activation-based work, covering a variety of brands with Brown Foreman. And it was so special to me. And that was kind of the kickoff point to then the catalyst to this. And I'll never forget, COVID had a major impact on where I am right now because I was very consumer focused. And then things changed during that time. There was a lot of cuts. Our industry really slowed down. But I was very grateful that the team wanted me to stay on. I said, Will, we want to switch you over to Trade Advocacy. And I just remember going, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm the right person for that at first. I was nervous. I don't have the background of being a bartender. So I started pulling as many shifts as I could. I just started spending as much time getting deeper into that industry and building those connections. And as you know, it's actually pretty easy because everybody's so awesome. And so then I got to meet people like yourself and I just felt so welcomed by that community that I knew in that moment that this is the direction that I want to go in.
Yeah, for sure. I remember seeing you, like you were always with Rob and everybody there, especially doing all that stuff when you were kind of in that period of learning and you were always around.
Yeah, just got to stay active, know, that's the thing. Be curious. I think I love too I'm the guy that goes in the bar and because I didn't have that background, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, what are you doing? Opposed to trying to suggest something, I was just there to learn. And when you do that, you end up being able to give a platform for people who are doing really cool stuff. And that's the most exciting thing to me.
Yeah, for sure. So you said you had a culinary background.
A little bit. I went to school there, to Johnson Wales University, and quickly learned that like this like dream I had as a kid of being a chef was like not on the cards for me. So I focused a little more on the food and beverage marketing side, and so that was so cool to explore
Yeah.
how we take that craft and bring that message to others, and how you can help others build their business around that skill set. Because not a lot of people that could cook or make a cocktail may not be the one that wants to
Mhm.
manage the business side of
Yep.
things. And so I kind of saw that gap and that bridge is something I was really interested in.
Yeah, for sure. So what, like you said, like as a kid, you wanted to be a chef. Like what inspired you as a kid to be a chef? Because I can tell you, I love watching Emeril Lagasse,
Yeah.
and that's kind of who kind of my family loved watching it. My grandparents watched it, and I'm like, I could do this. And I was going to be a chef initially, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I should just go get my business degree because I had a full ride to the one in New York, the Culinary Academy
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
Culinary. I can't remember what it's
Institute.
called, the Culinary Institute. Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I could do that, or I could just go get a business degree in F&B. That's what I decided to do.
Yeah, I love it. We
It's
kinda
like,
had a
okay,
similar,
yeah,
match up there, and for your Emerald, which is funny because he went to the campus that I of the
yeah,
school I went to,
mhm,
and, but for me, it was, growing up from in an English family,
mm,
he just did a lotta we didn't watch a lot of television as kids
mm,
at first, and so, my parents weren't necessarily super into cooking.
yeah,
My dad has a hospitality background. He worked at the Savoy in London,
okay,
for a little while
mm,
before he started his career that brought us to the United States. And
yeah,
so we had a little bit of that there, but mostly my mom it was just something we could do together in the kitchen.
mhm,
And so I fell in love with Jamie Oliver actually.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I really
yeah,
loved doing stuff from his cookbooks
yeah,
and everything. I remember we had this teacup. I'm a big tea drinker,
mm,
and it was a Jamie Oliver one. I don't know where we got it from, his website or something. And it said one side says if I'm doing the cooking, the other says you're doing the cleaning. So
yeah,
that was the cup, and every night it was kind of like who was doing it, all my brother Ollie or I, like one's doing the cooking, one's doing the cleaning kind of
yeah,
thing. And so we just had a great camaraderie from it, and that would kind of be the catalyst, I would say,
together,
to finding something. I was like, whoa, I really enjoy this.
yeah. So Jamie Oliver, what was your favorite book, or do you have a favorite cookbook?
Yeah, so he actually has a book that's basically just called Cook. And
Okay,
like what I loved about it was it wasn't like, hey, here's just a series of recipes.
mm,
It was more like technique based
yeah,
too. So it was like a really good way to learn how to apply certain things to it. And I love that because I don't want to have to memorize a bunch of recipes. I
mm,
just want to be able to start messing around and doing stuff. And
yeah,
he kind of kicked me off on that. And that's when I was like, wow, that's kind of what culinary school does, right?
yeah,
Too, is that it helps you understand technique, it helps you understand how to create your own thing,
mm,
and not just rely on a set recipe.
yeah, yeah, for sure. My favorite is, Escoffier,
Oh,
the big book. I actually just found it when I went to New Mexico for Thanksgiving from one of my first mentor chefs. He passed away 2 years ago. I thought I lost it, and I opened it to the page that he actually signed for me. I'm like, "Oh my god."
well, you must have got
I got a
chills.
little bit of chills and a little bit of, I got very teary-eyed, but
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have
that's
it I have it now. It's one of my favorite books.
Oh, I
Like,
love that. It's
he
beautiful.
said, "Once you master this, you're truly a chef." And so in there, I'm like, "Oh my god."
That's impact right
Yeah.
there.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like you've culinary to this is a natural linear transition for you, which
It
is
it
great.
is
Yeah, especially
definitely.
with
Yeah,
Herradura, that brand. Oh, it's great.
it is.
Yeah,
There's so much flavor, and that's agave is like just endless flavor
yeah,
profile. So that excites me too. Is there's so much you can do with it too. The way you build a dish, you can build a cocktail around it as
yeah.
well.
Sure. So you've been pretty much with Brown Forman almost your entire career in the
Yeah.
industry. Awesome. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the only supplier I've worked with through a couple different agencies over time,
yeah,
and now officially with them. But very much like a family,
yeah,
I really like the way that they approach business. It is a business, but it's also a place of people, and that's something that it's kind of hard to come around
yeah,
nowadays. So that's something very
yeah,
powerful that they do, and I'm really proud of. And they got great brands too. I
yeah,
mean, there's a lot of great suppliers with a lot of great brands out there, and
yeah.
that's the beauty of the world we're in now. Everyone's so good at what they
Mm,
do that every new spirit coming out is there's just so much great new stuff.
yeah,
So it's exciting to be a part of this sort of family supplier that has been doing some cool stuff for quite some time.
yeah, for sure. Do you work with an agency now, or are you working directly with B&F?
Directly for Brown Foreman.
Okay.
Now we have a lot of agencies we work with,
Yeah.
but I've about 2.5 years ago made that transition straight
Yeah.
over to Brown Foreman. That was pretty exciting.
It's awesome. So let's talk a little bit because I haven't hit this on any other podcast. Like, what is an agency on that end? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
Because I know there's brand ambassadors that work for agencies and there's brand ambassadors that work for the company, the suppliers.
that's a great question and
Yeah,
something we
yeah,
don't talk enough about
yeah,
because agencies are partly the fabric of our industry and our suppliers too.
yeah,
They bring so much creativity and uniqueness
yeah,
and skill sets that are so niche and specialized to the table. So there's so many different ways that an agency can be a part of your world.
mm,
whether it's in the marketing space, it's in the experiential space, the actual building out of things, and then also in the media side of things
Yep.
as well. That's a huge opportunity too. So I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these suppliers and brands, they seem so big on the outside,
Yeah.
but they're really a makeup of so many other factors and people too that
Right.
are outside of their organization. So it's really cool. It's like an extended family in a way.
Yeah.
So agency is such a great way to get involved with the spirit side of things
Yeah.
because sometimes agencies are very much like, oh, I could be bartending and then also have like a side gig with an agency that opens doors for me to explore new things within my industry that may
Yeah.
excite me.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, it's kind of happened to me. I mean, I probably would have kept going down this really specific consumer based path until I dipped my toes into something that was maybe scary at first.
Yeah.
And that's why agencies help provide a lot of great value
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have the media agency now that we're doing, so that's kind of helping us get into doing more brand stuff. Well,
And it's cool because you're able to get deeper into things and like you're not as restricted to
hmm
being on that side.
yeah,
So you can work with a variety of suppliers. You
yep,
can explore topics that weave their way in our industry throughout multiple streams,
yeah,
not just one supplier, not just one brand, which helps paint a really beautiful
yep,
picture with a nice broad stroke too from that viewpoint. So I know I'm really excited for your journey,
yeah,
and there's just so much more to come there, isn't there?
yeah. I'm excited. We're doing the most exciting part for me is the ability now to actually pitch all the companies now as one agency because we have Not Too Sweet,
Yep.
which is the event productions and the bar consulting, Visual Media, which is Luis and I doing the photo and video work. We now have this company for the Cocktail Classified,
Hmm.
and then we have Wildberry, which does more small business stuff. So it's kind of all encompassing.
And dude, I
Yeah,
also have to say, man, the names are so good.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's just like 4 great names
yeah,
all in one right
yeah.
there. I mean, some
Yeah.
people search their
Yeah.
whole spanning career of their business to get the
Yeah.
right name. And I mean, you that's I love them all every
Yeah.
time I hear them.
Yeah, it's one of the again, I have the business degree in the marketing and just like even with Night Shift, if you remember Night Shift,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like the time we spent on the branding is very important. And that's the same
absolutely.
thing I've kind of brought into for all our branding points.
And Night
Yeah.
Shift has this special place in Houston's history
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
It was so beloved for the time we had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some stuff coming down the pipeline,
Oh,
hopefully in
what's that?
2027. We'll see.
Okay.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Everything
Yeah.
aligns and with the way the world is right now, we'll see what happens. But there is something coming at some point.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, cool. So we've talked a little bit about your background, how you came from marketing. What advice would you give to someone who is kind of like in your same position where they're not necessarily bartenders, but not like I guess industry adjacent, more on the marketing side,
Hmm.
but they kind of want to learn more? What would you recommend doing
Yeah,
for them?
I would say be curious and
Yeah.
be open because there's just so much to look out for out there. If there's something very specific you have a vision on, that's great. But this industry changes and evolves
Mhm.
so much, so it's really important to like be open minded with that sort of thing. And I always highly recommend diversifying as much as
Mhm.
possible. If you see a door open at a distributor office, you see a door open with an agency,
Yeah.
obviously with a supplier too, like go explore each of them because you may think one thing is what you want to get to and love,
Yeah.
and then you may find another level down the road too. So that's the big thing. Be open, be curious, and then also my biggest piece of advice is be vulnerable because there's always going to be somebody else who is going to blow your mind, who's going to know more, and is going to been there and just be such a steward to success.
Yeah.
So if you can be humble in that sense and always like look to others as people who can add to your being and
Yeah.
your goals, then you're gonna find success and you're gonna make great friends along the way, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. That's a great point. And be humble. Yeah.
always.
Always be humble is always really important. And awesome. So we're here at Arizona Cocktail Week, naturally. So is this your first Arizona Cocktail Week?
This is my first Arizona
Yeah.
Cocktail Week. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, man,
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited to be here. I didn't know, well, I knew a bit of what to expect, obviously,
Mhm.
right? We go to trade shows a lot,
Mhm.
year after year, but this one is so unique to me.
Mhm.
It just has a very special place in my heart now, even on this first couple days. I
Mhm.
mean, first off, I just got to say I love Arizona,
Yeah.
and I'm a little biased there because I do love this place so
Mhm.
much. And the weather
Oh yeah.
doesn't suck this time of year, even
Yeah.
though we are in like at
Yeah.
the hottest it's been in a
Yeah.
February
Yeah.
here. But I will take this over some of the time frames that some of our other trade shows happen. I'm yeah, first time, really excited.
Yeah. I love Phoenix. What bars have you been to?
Oh my
Have you
gosh,
been?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we like, went and spent some time over at Valentine in 1912.
Okay.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Barcoa is amazing
Barco is
too.
great.
Really
Mhm.
good. Bitter and Twisted, Little Rituals. It's like you can't not go to there because
Yep.
there's not just so good, they're so important too. I mean, they make such a big impact on our industry.
Yeah.
I mean, they have waves that ripple across the world, you know?
Yep.
Then obviously Century Grand is just such a
Undertow.
beautiful concept and so many cool little mini concepts within it too,
Yeah.
you know? So I really enjoyed that. And then Sonny's is, you know, a
Sunny's is great.
great
Yeah.
industry spot.
Yeah.
I absolutely had a great time there. So yeah, we've been hitting a lot of different places and that's just scratching the surface. I don't
Yep.
think people realize how deep Arizona's cocktail scene in general goes.
Yeah. For sure. Sunny's is definitely like we were there last night
Hmm.
with one of our clients, and it just like I was looking at the bar. I'm like, they have every single type of consumer in there. They have the older consumers. Like there is this older gentleman just sitting there chilling
Hmm.
in the corner, even though this big event is going through,
Yeah.
having his beer and enjoying the time. And then we had the people, the visitors in there, and you can tell the neighborhood people were coming in as well, which is great. So
Yeah.
obviously that's the neighborhood bar there.
Isn't that a
Like,
great
yeah.
like example of how that's a bar that will survive, right?
Hmm.
The times because you attract all ranges of
Yeah.
people. Um, and that's also just a sign of how good your hospitality is.
Right.
That you people who look for different things all feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
How good your drinks are, if such a range of palates can
Mhm.
enjoy it. So that's a special place.
Yeah. And then of course Little Rituals and Bitter and Twisted, Ross and Aaron. Of course we gotta
Oh, Ross
make
and
sure
Aaron are
we shout
amazing,
them out.
man.
Like they're hustling this week. I haven't seen them yet, but we'll
They're
see them
always
soon.
grinding.
They're
I
always
could
great.
imagine this has gotta be, like, just the wildest week for
Yeah.
them, you know, with how much they're involved into. It's such a it's crazy, it's amazing.
Yeah. So it's the first year at Arizona Cocktail Week. You had your first cocktail carnival yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're walking around with the mics and getting some content, which was great. Are you excited for Top Bars tonight?
Very, very
Yeah, it's
excited,
my favorite
man.
event.
It's like that moment we're all waiting for, you
Yeah.
know? I think Cocktail Carnival was incredible,
Yeah.
and it blew me away. I
Yeah.
didn't I knew it was gonna be good, but I didn't think it was gonna be quite to the level it was
Mhm.
just because I do a lot of events like
Mhm.
that that are very more they feel more consumer
Yeah.
focused and you get a blend, these outdoor environments, and there's a lot of factors with indoor versus outdoor on sound and all these different things, but,
Yeah.
um, wow, they blew out the water.
Yeah.
I mean, that was fun. Great brands there, great show out, great unique ideas, but top bar, man, I mean, we're about to get to stand in a room
Yep.
with the best in the game
Mhm.
from around the world,
Yeah.
and it's just not often that you get to taste all of those flavors in one place,
Yeah.
opposed to having to travel so far to get them.
Yeah. You know what bars you guys are paired with? Herradura?
Yeah,
What bar?
yeah, so we're with Pacific Cocktail Heaven out of, San
Oh yeah.
Francisco.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
Kevin is such a nice
Is he?
yeah, he's gonna
Oh,
yep, he's
okay.
here.
Cool. Yeah.
So excited to see him this
Yeah.
evening and just you know when you meet someone who and we just kind of met virtually
Okay.
and he just has such a kind aura
Mhm.
about him. And then obviously the reputation of his bar is incredible.
Yeah.
And what they've done is so great too. So
Mhm.
it's really exciting because it's almost like this little like who are we gonna get? Because it's really cool. I don't think a lot of people understand Top
Yeah.
Bar. It's this beautiful like randomized selection of pairing
Yep.
brands and bars together. So it's a great way to explore things that
Mhm.
you know maybe you wouldn't have explored before, and
Yeah.
also sometimes you're like, oh, I wouldn't typically think of maybe a certain spirit being paired with that type of bar,
Yeah.
but it goes to show the versatility of these places
Yeah.
too.
You know what cocktail he's making?
He's got two going.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you're gonna have to come out to see
Yeah. I was
them.
gonna say.
They're
Okay.
very intricate.
Okay.
They're very detailed, and I'm really excited for them. But we're gonna be playing with some really unique flavors too.
Okay.
So, it's funny. Kevin's got like a lot of stuff that he'll be bringing with him because
Yeah.
there's work that goes on before we even get here. And
Yeah.
so, I think that's something a lot of people don't realize when it comes to cocktails. Like, it's not just a set of ingredients that are built on the spot all the time. Weeks and months sometimes go into developing infusions and washes
Mhm.
and nowadays, we're seeing bartenders create their own cordials and
Yep.
liqueurs,
Mhm.
and the flavor expansion that creates is just wild doing that in-house. So Kevin's bringing a lot of cool stuff with
Yeah.
him, and we'll have two great cocktails. We're actually gonna be, featuring Herradura Reposado, the world's very first Reposado
Yeah.
tequila. So really excited to bring that story to the table through
Yeah.
flavor. And then also, I'm really happy about we've got Blanco Origin out. So
Yeah.
this is our high proof Blanco. So that will be featured in the other cocktail. It's a kind of an origin story for Tequila Herradura. It's a 150-year-old recipe that it honors and speaks to. And so it's really good taste of terroir and tradition too.
Oh, for sure. It's the OG bottle too, right? Like
Yeah,
brown
the
wine
OG
label.
bottle.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's really good. Last time I tried it, it's been a minute. I think someone else brought it too. It's one of the Brown Foreman reps when I was in Houston like a couple weeks ago. Brought it
So
back.
we brought that back to the United States about about a year ago. So it was hard to get for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said too, and I'm excited for it to come back. So it's delicious. I like the bottle; it's very slick.
It is. It's a little
Uh-huh.
piece of the past, isn't it?
Yeah,
A little bit of tradition
it kind
too.
of reminds me of the Tapatio.
That yeah, that
Yeah,
more circular style. Because
yeah,
especially with Herradura, you think of the square
yeah,
bottle, right? That's
mhm,
like its kind of iconic bottles. When you see that one next to it, you're like, "Ooh, what is that?" You
yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure. So kind of going back to Arizona Cocktail Week. So you cocktail class or cocktail carnival. Today's top bars. Are you here tomorrow? Or you out tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. We've just got some local stuff we're doing with the
Yeah,
team, some bonding. And it's a great opportunity for us to like show some appreciation to our distributor
yeah,
partners. It's a great one of the things that Arizona have an amazing team here, and so it's a great
yeah,
opportunity for us to just kind of get the
yeah,
creative juices flowing for hey, what's coming next? It's almost like a mini in the moment recap
yeah,
of the week, and then also like we can even start planning and ideating for the next year too.
yeah,
It's that's always a fun day when you have that moment to be able to do that.
yeah.
So I'll be here tomorrow for that, and then
Yeah.
we'll finish off with Slingers in the evening.
Oh, wait, that's my next question. Are you going to be at Slingers?
Absolutely.
Slingers is great. The way they do that competition
And again,
is
I've
sick.
never experienced
Yeah.
it, so I don't really know a lot about what to expect, but I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it's at RNDC. It's gonna be, I think, 16 people, and they go head to head, and they get selected randomly selected, like a modifying spirit and a base spirit,
Hmm.
and then they have a full pantry, and they have to create a cocktail on the fly
Oh, I love it.
during that period, and then they'll present it to the judges, tell them what it is, how they invented it, and then it's basically you get eliminated or you move on to the next round.
Oh, I
And you
love it.
see and that's it's basically 3 heats, 4 heats.
So this is interesting
Yeah,
because
fun.
we have like a really cool concept here.
Mhm.
And there's a little variations you'll see, at different competitions around the
Yeah.
country, but something like Slingers, like you go on the Food Network and it's
Mhm.
like endless shows about
Mhm.
competitions for cooking. And it's like, we definitely need more of that in our
Yep.
space because this stuff is just as intricate, if not more
Yeah.
sometimes. And there's so many people doing it really well.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably done, I can't even imagine how many competitions you've
Yeah,
seen
that's
in your
pretty sick.
life,
Yeah.
and it's just like
Mhm.
all of that could be a stage for people outside of the
Yeah.
industry to learn more about that and get involved too.
Yeah.
So
I know we had Drink Masters on Netflix, and they were supposed to be bringing it back, but I'm not sure. I'm curious what's gonna happen with that, but I definitely agree. I think there needs to be some more cocktails. There's not enough cocktail, or bartending shows out there.
yeah.
Something that
So let's hope for the best there.
yeah,
Would love to see Drink Masters come back and would love to see someone explore other stuff too. I mean, I also would love like the variation of something like a Anthony Bourdain style traveling show, but
yeah,
with cocktails
yeah,
focused. And so I think that's really cool when you got like, he would travel around and
yeah,
explore people and culture.
yeah,
We could do the same with the drink scene. I
yeah,
mean, that's kind of what we do, right?
yeah,
In a way, it just hasn't been recorded like that. So,
yeah, for sure. I think so we have an idea of potentially doing something like that here in the future. So maybe
oh,
we'll
exciting.
we'll get something going. Um, so singers really good. Cocktail competitions are great opportunities for people to grow,
Hmm.
I think, as well. There's also some where from a marketing standpoint, right, you gotta look at I know how marketers like you know how marketing works, is they're more worried about, like, the KPI versus
Mm.
having bartenders making the cocktails and not really getting anything out of it. And then going from there, having some mic issues, but
Well,
this
it's
is
funny you
interesting,
say
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Patrick, because that KPI piece is interesting, but
Mhm.
we are seeing a new transition in the
Yeah,
way we look at KPIs.
yeah,
So I actually, I'd love to share that with you. What's really
yeah,
cool is we're not seeing it be so structured towards like a commercial approach
yeah,
always. Nowadays we're seeing KPIs based around emotive elements, right?
sure.
Things that are based around impact and emotion
Mm,
and leaning into that more than always just being so structurally commercial based too. And
yeah,
I think that's exciting for our industry because it breeds creativity, and it allows us to explore creativity. And from a marketing perspective, it's allowing us to share with consumers what's inside the minds of people they don't normally get to interact with. And
yeah,
so if we are now seeing people geared towards, hey, my goal is to throw a cocktail competition
yeah,
versus my goal is to
yeah,
just make these sales, then all of a sudden the result's the same.
yeah,
You still get those end results, but you're doing it in a more creative and unique way.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm curious to see, like, what's gonna happen with everything going on right now in our world. What's gonna happen with the cocktail competition scene.
Yeah,
Is it
it's tough, right? I
yeah,
mean, there's a lot of positives and negatives, and I'll say, I know we all see this sort of decline in drinking a little
yeah,
bit and those numbers going down, but I see this as a big positive too because when people bring wellness into their life
Mhm.
and their space, then they have more energy to commit to something they love.
Yeah.
And I also think it will drive quality over quantity,
Yep.
which is always a good
Yep.
thing. I mean, it's really remarkable. You don't see a huge range of really low quality spirits anymore, and
Yeah.
that's because if people are going to drink less,
Yeah.
maybe they want to drink better.
Yeah. And people are definitely more educated.
Absolutely.
After through COVID and everybody kind of just started taking up home bartending and they started researching spirits and just like the whole additive thing that came up as
Yeah.
well is a big thing. And people are just trying to be more health conscious, I think. And like Lalo's done a good job as well.
Mm-hmm.
Herradura has always been there. It's
Yeah.
been a workhorse as well
Yeah, you just
with
got to
their
share those
approach.
stories too. People
Yeah.
want to hear
Yeah.
them now,
Yeah.
right? And that's so cool. And
Yeah.
and also, from like an ambassador perspective, and even from a bartender
Yeah.
perspective, it's what's cool is it makes us better.
Yeah.
The consumer knows so much now
Yeah.
that you better know your stuff,
Yeah.
kind of thing, because they're going to know a lot too, and they're going to have a lot of questions. So it kind of makes everyone better.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what is Herradura kind of doing right now? I know you said the big push used to be culinary. Culinary is still a big core of Herradura.
Mm.
But what is Herradura doing now?
Yeah,
What is a big focus?
a lot of cool things. One
Yeah.
is a massive commitment to advocacy,
Yeah.
in a way we've never seen before.
Okay.
So we have this incredible ambassador team now based around the country, places like LA, New York,
Yeah.
Atlanta. We've got people in Miami,
Okay.
Texas, and these are all like industry folk, who've
Mhm.
been there, done that, and love agave too. So we're really focusing on the people behind the bar. That's a big part of our story right now,
Okay.
but also bringing more insight behind the craft and authenticity of Casa Herradura. I mean, look, this is over 150
Mhm.
years of history in this brand.
Yeah.
And you look at most brands today and you're looking at 20, 25 years or younger, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we have a really cool story to tell and a piece of the tequila's history that's really iconic and
Yeah.
important. So we're trying to bring that authenticity and craft to a larger audience too, and really showcase who we are and what we've done. So the distillery's opened up a lot more. We were able to get more people down
Yeah.
there to experience this incredible place.
Mhm.
And so that's been kind of our mission, is to bridge the world. Here in the US, it's really to bridge Mexico and US together and
Yeah.
showcase that Mexican culture and
Mhm.
how special it is,
Yeah.
but also the beautiful mingling with the culture we have in the United States
Yeah.
that's created this blend that is so iconic to so many of us and is honestly a major factor of what we think about when we think of tequila culture.
Yeah. For sure. How's everybody doing out there? Every distillers and everybody that's working at the facility
Yeah,
with
yeah.
everything going on?
Everything's going really well down in the distillery.
Okay.
So the team down there is amazing too,
Yeah.
and it's they've done such a good job of keeping all this epic history and
Yeah.
historicness alive. And I always tell people, if they get a chance to, if they haven't been to Casa Herradura, it's sort of like keeping one foot in the past and one looking to the future.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important too. You need to honor where you've come from and allow that authenticity to still thrive through what you do.
Yeah.
But you also want to look to the future in order to evolve so you can exist for another 150 years and keep
Yeah.
sharing those stories.
Yeah, for sure. And they weren't affected by anything that was happening in Mexico right now.
Oh yeah, where everyone's okay. And I
Everything, yeah.
mean, it was incredible. I mean, just to showcase the kind of people that work down there. There were people at the Casa at the time, and they were allowed to stay there overnight.
Okay.
People went out and got them food, and the community kind of rallied behind that. And I think that was just a beautiful moment of
Yeah.
how amazing the
Mm.
people in this part of Mexico and all of Mexico are.
Yeah.
But from our lens, from this part of Mexico
Yeah.
are, their commitment to others, even people that aren't from there.
Yeah.
So it was such a big testament to the heart and soul of those people,
Awesome.
and not just the spirit that they make.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know there's a few people that couldn't make it out that were supposed to be here because they couldn't leave the
Yeah.
facility or making sure their people are taken care of.
Yep. And that's
Kind of stuff.
important.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. So Herraduras, remind me of the backstory on that one because it's been a minute. So there's
yeah.
fruit trees around the farm,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Get-
a special place. So I always say it, about 150 years as a registered distillery, but the
Yeah.
journey began even before that.
Yeah.
And it's so connected to tequila's history. So when you go to Mexico, Jalisco is the biggest space where you'll find tequila, right?
Yeah.
This is where most tequila is produced. Inside there's the highlands and the lowlands, two distinct regions where the agave tastes
Yeah.
very different.
Mhm.
When we get into the lowlands, there's a town called Tequila,
Mhm.
and that's where I think most people think of when they think of tequila.
Yeah.
But just down the road, there's a small town with a big story called Amatitan. And Amatitan is commonly known as and thought to and believed to be the birthplace of tequila. And that is the town that Casa Herradura is in. It's where we've always been
Yeah.
and a big part of that story. So it's a very beautiful grounds, and it has housing and structures in from the past where people were living on site while they worked there.
Yeah.
And, you mentioned the fruit trees. It's not just beautiful. That's a big part of our story too. So whenever you make tequila, fermentation's so important. And there's a lot of great yeast strains out there. So you could get them from champagne yeast, beer yeast, anywhere around the world. But our founder made a really cool decision back in the day to start planting these kind of trees. And so the natural yeast living on the 16 varieties of fruit and citrus are providing our open air natural fermentation for the distillery. So it's kind of like a thumbprint, it's unique to us in that sense, and the terroir that's in that area. So it's such a good testament to that's an element of doing things the old school way. And I always say, put in the past and also looking in the future. So to give you an example of that, you have these fruit trees creating this incredible yeast strain. But at the same time, we're like, oh man, moving juice from like the milling and cooking area over to fermentation and distillation, that's like emissions, that's moving, the trucks going back and forth. So we've built these pipe structures that move liquid around the distillery so that it's a little more efficient and less no emissions that way, and just overall keeping the serenity and the beauty of this place alive. So that's how, as you get bigger, you can always still be better too.
So that's one of the big sustainability aspects.
It is, and there's so many elements of sustainability happening at Casa Herradura. And I think for bartenders that look for something that is not just delicious, but they can be proud to pour, or they can really connect with, we have some really great, stories for that. I mean, when you think about that, we convert our byproducts like heads and tails of alcohol into steam, and then use that steam to power the distillery. I mean, a good portion of our distillery is powered by the byproducts of the previous batch of tequila. And that's just cool modern tech that we can integrate, you know? So in the past, but also looking to the future.
Yeah, for sure. Are you guys recycling the bagasse?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We turn it into mulch. And that mulch can go to farmers. We also have even worked a few times with a really cool company down in Mexico that take those fibers and convert them into like a agave leather.
Oh, cool.
We can make bolo ties, a wallet, you can make anything almost out of it. So we do stick to mostly using it for mulch. So that's that recyclable element. Casa Herradura is like what we call a zero waste to landfill site. So that's about 99% of all waste recycled, reused. And at this size of a distillery, that's pretty incredible to think about, because the impact on the environment is huge. That's a side of tequila a lot of people don't know about, is how much waste is involved in the creation of tequila, and the impact that can have on the people and the biodiversity of the area.
Yeah, that's definitely something like making spirits it's rough for the environment.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's really cool that there's a lot of sustainability aspects. I'm seeing a lot of more brands are getting into it. Like it's been here, but it's going to continue being here. Herradura is added. It's also that we have I'm going to ask about the whole additive movement. Herradura has always been just Herradura, right? There's not really, they don't do like.
Absolutely. So when you pick up a bottle of tequila Herradura, we are additive free in our expressions for everything except for one of them. And we're proud of it, man. We put it on the bottle. We have Herradura Ultra, our Cristalino tequila. It utilizes a touch of agave nectar. Agave nectar comes from the same plant that we make the tequila from. It brings in a unique mouthfeel, and it brings a lot of approachability to a spirit too. So I always love saying like that could be the catalyst for you falling in love with agave and then exploring everything else that's out there too.
Yeah, for sure. So you do the Blanco. You said they're the first repo. You guys are also the first reposado.
Yeah, world's first reposado. And then a pioneer in the extra añejo category. So that's pretty cool too. And also a pioneer in women in distillation, something that was not common in Mexico. So you can go way back to the 50s and see. And so every single bottle besides that original Blanco that you see from Casa Herradura was created by women in distillation. So that world's first reposado, and all these iconic moments throughout tequila's history were defined by these incredible women who just brought a whole new lens to distillation in Mexico.
Is Herradura still family owned, or is there like
we're owned by Brown-Forman?
So it's
now Brown-Forman is the owner of Casa Herradura, and they have done such an amazing job of keeping it to its roots too. So a great example is like if you go down and visit, everyone working on site there have had some sort of connection to Herradura or from Mexico's community in general. You'll meet people down there that are 2, 3
Yeah.
generations with the distillery. And so it's so important for us, like, hey, yes, Brown Forman own it. And Brown Forman brought so much of the sustainability to
Yeah.
Casa Herradura. They brought a lot of barrel knowledge to Casa Herradura as well. But wanted to make sure they could maintain the authenticity of that space, that brand, and how important it is.
Yeah.
So that's a really a hard thing to do,
Yeah.
And a lot of times people you will have an immediate perception of that, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
a supplier from a different country buys a brand, and you may think that a lot will be lost in that process. But I've been so impressed by the way over the years Brown Forman have maintained Herradura's identity.
Yeah. For sure. When did they acquire him?
So this was around 2007.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
it's the early 2000s, mid to mid 2000s is kind of when that kicked off. So obviously Heritage's history is that's just a fraction of it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, it's a relatively new partnership, even though it's still been some time.
For sure. So let's talk a little bit about the aging process because I know Herradura does tank aging, right?
Mhm.
On the silver. You want to talk a little about the tank aging to
Yeah,
the repo to the añejo because you
absolutely.
do a little extra time on them, right?
We do,
Interesting.
yeah. And we go above it, beyond the standards for aging is so, so important to us. So think about this. It's 2 months to age a reposado. We age for 11 months. It's a year to age an añejo. That's the minimum you have to do. We go for 25 months.
Okay.
So we're doing that all through, and we even do it with a silver. So we talked about the Blanco, that we just brought to the U.S. recently,
Yeah.
but we also have Herradura Silver, and it can get a little confusing. You're like, whoa, two Blanco style tequilas. One's called Silver, one's called Blanco. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Our Silver is actually touches a barrel for 45 days, and it's not really aging the tequila. It's like a chef's kiss. I always like to say, just a light mellowing effect and bringing some new nuance to that spirit too. So we do love to experiment with barrels, and we've gone even further recently. Have you had a chance to try Herradura Legend?
Not yet.
Okay, we got to get you a pour of that because it's a beautiful bottle. And what it's all about was our master taster at the time was kind of like, hey, I'm going to make something that whiskey lovers are going to lose their minds over.
Yeah.
And so the idea is it's one of the first times that tequila has been aged in a grooved barrel.
Okay.
So deep cut grooves in the barrel, allowing more surface area of tequila to be exposed to that oak.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool part of our process. I mean, at Casa Herradura, there's a mini cooperage style space there.
Yeah.
So we can fix up barrels.
Yeah.
You could toast and char barrels there too to get them perfect for tequila. Most people may not know this, but the vast majority of tequilas that are aged in used barrels, right?
Mm.
So we get ours from places like Jack Daniel's, Woodford Reserve, Old Forester, but then we can give them their nuances that we feel are really great for aging, so that you can age for a long time, but also not lose the agave.
When you're aging, are you doing it are they laying down or are they actually standing up?
So they're on their sides,
Okay.
right? Our rick house is not temperature control, which I love. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like nature, you do your thing, Because of this, we have like a 12 to 14% angel share. It can sometimes go higher. And it also means that there's a lot of nuance in things like our double barrel, which is our version of like a personal single barrel selection. And it allows such a wide range of flavors that way.
Awesome. Yeah. We talked about that. Is there any other sustainability things that you're doing at the hacienda?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Outside of that, like any kind of bat projects or anything with bees or anything like that you guys are doing to stay at the fruit trees?
Yeah, exactly. The bees are a big part of it. You'll see them buzzing around at the distillery because of that pollination and the effect they can have on keeping those trees and the next generation going.
Yeah.
But also in the fields too. So we're really proud to be part of the ARA certification. This is just kind of a responsible agave association, and what they do is ensure that the agave we're growing is not on deforested land, and we can help protect biodiversity. It also helps support farmers. Tequila is a lot like wine, where you don't always have your own fields. It's sort of like you buy your grapes, you buy your agave, and so it's important to know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
It's important to know that those farmers and growers are treated properly and paid correctly. And then also to ensure that the land is protected so you can keep growing great agave. And this is happening all over. I mean, we use a majority lowland agave, but we integrate some highland agave too, because we also love some of those floral and fruity flavors from the highlands that we can pull into those herbaceous and earthy notes from the lowlands. So that certification is a really important part of sustainability. It starts our journey. When we get to the distillery, we do the clean mulch after milling, and then we have this byproduct conversion, open air natural fermentation. And we finish it off really strong too. When the barrels see the end of their life, we actually turn them into sawdust and convert that into biofuel as well.
Okay.
So we could make furniture, you can do cool stuff with it, but you can also convert it into biofuel and help power that next set of agave production as well.
That's awesome. That's cool. I didn't know you guys were doing that with the barrels either.
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
really cool. We had one of the first of its kind wastewater treatment plants at
Yeah.
Casa Herradura, and that was a pivotal moment for the brand because it really opened the door to what you can do
Yeah.
with everything that's there at the distillery. And so we actually expanded that facility about 6 months to a year ago now,
Yeah.
which was really exciting to see that commitment. Like that's where we want to. I love it. Like we're investing in that sustainable commitment.
Yeah.
And as our climate changes, we're going to see a new world of agave. And we don't know how that's going to affect everything
Yeah.
yet. So it's important to do our best to reduce any chance of negative impact. And this is kind of the Herradura way of doing that.
Sure. That's awesome. So you mentioned about the farmers. So you guys source a lot of agave.
Mhm.
What are you guys looking for specifically?
Yeah,
That's a good.
that's a good
Yeah.
question. Yeah, you're looking for like for us, like you want to find your balance of flavor, right?
Right.
So certain areas and different soils will provide different things, and then from a farmer perspective, that's what's so great about the ARA is they just really help you ensure that it's people who care about growing
Yeah.
it, harvesting these agaves at the right time when they're mature, when they have the right brix level. Um, and making sure the next generation of agave are cared for too.
Yeah.
Because what's so cool about Blue Weber is if the stock is not part of the equation, then the abuelos, so the babies coming off the bottom, are, and
Yeah.
that's how the next generation of agaves are grown. So it's important to care for those too,
Yeah.
as they are going to be in the next soil. So
Yeah.
instead of turning and burning, it's really more about growing at the right pace these agaves so that they can live the best life they can and get us the best flavors too.
Sure. So you're not rushing the process.
Sorry?
You're not rushing the process.
No rushing of the process. You got to
Yeah.
make sure that it's right and ready when it is, and that's pretty cool. And like we're talking about climate a minute ago. Agaves are reacting to the climate now, so we are going to see a change in maturity. Right, plants will
Sure.
mature at a different rate just because the natural environment and how it's changing. Yeah. So we have to be ready to adapt to that. It's cool that there's modern tech that allows you to, test the brix levels of an agave to really know if it's ready.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool too. So that's another great example of like modern innovation is really helping us understand the plant better.
Yeah, for sure. And then I have another nerdy question for you because I want to go back to fermentation.
Yeah.
So you say you have all these microclimate happening in there. You have all these organisms floating around the air. Have they taken any of the yeast strains and like put them in a lab just in case? Or are they just letting it like each batch is different? We're letting the natural process go.
Yeah.
Like do you know how they're approaching that?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's always smart to have these things as backups too. So yeah, there's definitely like elements of testing, like understanding the yeast strain better means
Yeah.
getting it to a lab to understand it.
Right.
But we are operating under an open air natural process. So it really is like, it could be, averages around 4 days, depending on the time of year. The yeast may be faster or slower.
Yeah.
So you have that safety net still, but we're relying on nature to just do its thing, right? And so that fermentation room has like a bunch of grates and open archways so that the air flows through naturally.
Yeah.
But yes, exactly. I mean, I think there's like a common in any industry where there's a huge natural element to something that you do. We can sometimes get scared of words like laboratories,
Yeah.
but they're also designed to help protect nature and help protect the plant and understand it better. I mean, when you look back in the past at when agave went through like a really scary destruction of crop, and shortages that were coming from pest and disease. It was the ability to understand the plant better in a lab that helps save these plants too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a balance. You want to make sure that for us, it's let's use the natural open air yeast and just let it do its thing, but you can have that backup there as part of that journey too if something changes in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's awesome. Are they pulling from any of the batches? Is there like a laboratory team as they go through fermentation, just pulling and checking it?
Like checking it and so
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
obviously,
is it
you
like
want to keep an eye on it, like
Yeah.
what's it doing, how is
Yeah.
it changing. So they're really aware of that
Yeah.
yeast strain. It's kind of like it's like a nature documentary,
Yeah.
right? Where you're like letting nature do its thing,
Yeah.
but you're capturing
Yeah.
and watching everything, ensuring and learning about it and
Yeah.
understanding it.
Awesome. Cool. So we've talked about the product, we've talked about where it's going through. What is next? What do you got coming up? Is there
Yeah,
something
so we've
exciting
a
coming
lot
up?
of exciting stuff coming
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah.
we have an LTO coming, a limited time offer that's going to hit soon.
Yeah.
We're bringing back this series called the Colección de la Casa.
Okay.
So you may have seen some of this in 2012 through 2016, and
Yeah.
it is exciting. We're looking at exploring what we're going to do next with these expressions. How do we share the past but also how do we look to what kind of new exciting things we can do. So we will be releasing our still strength
Yeah.
Directo de Alambique, bringing that back to the public. It was beloved, and we wanted to share that again.
Yeah.
It's a true taste of terroir, expression,
Yeah.
and a heck of a way to upgrade a cocktail too and explore some really unique flavors.
Just gonna hold my mic. Okay, that's awesome. So when is this? So when is you said it's this summer?
Yep, this summer.
Okay, sometime.
Yeah, sometime this summer we'll
Okay.
start. We'll see it start hitting the United States. So really excited for that, and that'll be a 1-year release.
Okay.
And then the next year we're going to do something new, something different, something exciting too.
Yeah.
And we'll see where we go from there. So back in the past, you may have, if you ever got a chance to try them, they were a lot more reposado based, and it was like port finish, cognac, and Scotch finishes, and so exploring other areas of the spirits world.
Yeah.
But we are also really looking to explore more of Mexico's heritage.
Yeah.
And like, wow, let's really amplify that and understand so many unique things that are happening there. The spirits world in Mexico is incredible right now.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to look for new ways to share that with others.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. And how many bottles are they producing, or how many barrels did you guys produce?
It's going to be a pretty small batch.
Okay.
So I don't have the exact number on me right
Yeah.
now. I'll definitely get back to you on that though. But it's one of those things where like you're not going to see it everywhere.
Okay.
So if you see that bottle in the off premise, grab one.
Yeah.
And depending on how it does, you can always like next year's version, you can always try to make a little more if you want to. But with that quantity, it allows us to really focus on quality too, right? And still strength's a really fun thing to explore, but it's also not easy. I mean, it sounds like it's easy because it's the proof, that you come off the still at after your second distillation. And for us, we do 2 distillations.
Yeah.
So this will be 110. This is 55% ABV. This is the highest you are legally allowed to go in tequila.
Okay.
So you will be able to taste what I personally would describe as the rawest form of tequila. And that's pretty exciting, and there's a few times throughout in different brands that have tested that idea out and done that sort of thing. But we're just definitely seeing people becoming more interested in high proof from an agave perspective.
Sure. I'm going to say Tapatio 110 is my favorite.
It's so good.
It's so good, right?
It's so good.
It's so delicious.
Yeah.
I'm curious to try this when it does come out.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, you're definitely going to get a lot of, like, for me, bell pepper. That lowland vegetal notes are really strong there. It's really creamy, a little bit of black pepper too. But it's remarkable how easy it is to go across the palate for being at that sort of a strength. So don't shy away from it. If high proof is something you're not sure about, give it a try and see what you think.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So we're going to be starting to wrap up. So a couple of rapid fire questions I like asking. So since you have a culinary background, what was the first dish you learned to make?
Oh, that's a great question. So funny enough, like I kind of have 2. So one of them was dessert, and one of them was more like dinner style, right?
Okay.
So I remember like this very weird English green pea variation on like a cacio de pepe, like was like something I really explored a lot when I was younger. One of my first things I got into. And then also, this is so funny, I just think it's so silly, but like chocolate lava cake.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was so much fun because it is one of the most rewarding things when you cut into that and you nailed it, and it's just like perfect, like, because you don't know until you open it, right? And that's what I love. I love that kind of cooking. So those are definitely like kind of my origins. But I can tell you now, I'm really into bread.
Bread, okay.
Yeah, I bake bread every week.
Are you a sourdough guy?
Oh, believe it or not, no, I've never done sourdough, man.
I got sourdough going home.
I got to do it because I love the yeast concept behind it. So I need to get into sourdough. But I've been mostly doing like classic English cobs, French loaves, Japanese milk bread.
Okay.
Really enjoy doing those. Japanese milk bread is just so delicious. Can be a little hard to work with, but I'm just loving it. So I've made this commitment to myself this year that I will not buy a loaf of bread unless I'm like at a restaurant or something, Otherwise, I will only eat bread that I make. And so it's so cost effective and it's so cathartic. And if you live a fast-paced lifestyle, like being able to slow down for a minute and just knead some dough is like, it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in Houston too. You can make bread pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's not too crazy.
It's a good climate for it.
Yeah. For sure. So next question I have for you is, what was the first cocktail where you had this like aha moment?
Oh man. So it's kind of like, I would say it's a tie, but one of the first ones I had that really blew my mind way back in the day was a bartender in Houston named Haley Harper made this like really cool cocktail for me that was like bell pepper infusion on this Herradura that I loved, and it brought in like a lot of dill. And so for me, this was like a garden in a glass.
Yeah.
And I'm also love gardening, and
Yeah.
I'm scents are everything to me. And so this cocktail was just like performative in so many ways. It
Yeah.
tasted great. It smelled great.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do some of the techniques that were like that.
Yeah.
And then the other cocktail that to this day has just like blown my mind so much because it's such a wild concept was we were talking about Rob earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So Roberto Rivas down in Houston too.
Yeah.
He whipped up this perfectly clear highball,
Yeah.
but it tasted exactly like really authentic chips and salsa.
Okay.
And it was crazy,
That's
man.
cool.
It was like heirloom corn and then this bright like red salsa, but it
Yeah.
was perfectly clear and super refreshing. And your brain was just like, I'm supposed to be biting right now, but
Yeah.
I'm sipping, and it blew
Yeah.
me away.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't had any cocktails from him in a while. I need to go see him.
Yeah,
Dude.
definitely. Check it out. He's always
Yeah.
working on something fun. He just
Yeah.
did a Valentine's Day pop up
Yeah, I
that
saw
had
that.
some cool ones. So there's so much out there, but I would say like cocktails don't always have to be very intricate and crazy too. Like I just love a classic like Rosita as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Those are delicious.
oh, dude, incredible.
I don't think people drink them enough, is my opinion, but
I
it's
agree.
it's a cocktail it's not, the build itself is not balanced. I will say, it has to be balanced.
Yeah.
But once it's balanced, it's delicious.
So you've heard it here.
Yeah.
Go find a Rosita.
Yeah, go try one for sure.
Yeah.
Would you say that's one of your other favorite cocktails of the Rosita you said?
Oh yeah, hands
Cool.
down. That would be one of my favorites.
So on the opposite spectrum, what is your least favorite cocktail?
Ooh, good question. You know, I don't like a ranch water.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah. If you do something really funky with it,
Yeah.
sure. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like a grapefruit Oleo or something. Like,
Yeah.
I like that. But like a classic ranch water, I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I just want the tequila soda.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I would honestly, I know ranch waters are really popular, but
yeah.
maybe that's a hot take. One of my least favorites.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Like ranch, I agree. Like ranch waters are just like, okay, well, let's do a variation on it. But it's the number one selling cocktail in Texas.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
I'm like, you have to have it on the menu.
Oh, you
People
got
are
to.
gonna-
You know, there's another you know what cocktail I think is going to just explode soon. And we've been focusing it a lot at Herradura is the Cantarito.
Oh yeah.
And it's just if you like a margarita and you like a Paloma and you want like it's like if a Margaret Paloma had a baby and it like went to college. It's just like it's just a little more, you know, intricate, a little more advanced, but it's super delicious and approachable.
Yeah.
And the story behind the drink is so cool with the clay vessel too. So I think Cantaritos are going to be a big thing in our tequila space
I've
coming
been seeing a
forward.
lot more, even just the Cantarito glasswares are everywhere.
Absolutely.
You're
And it's
seeing
huge in Mexico already,
Yeah.
but like here in the US, we don't see it, and around the world, we don't see it as much.
Yeah.
And oh man, it's so delicious.
What do you think about Batenga?
So that was the other one I wanted to say.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to like, wow, boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
First time I had a Batanga, I was like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want this. This is a whiskey thing. Or this is a rum thing. I don't want this. Then I had a Batanga made the right way.
Yeah.
When I was down in Mexico, and I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
When you use the knife that you cut the lime with that gets the essential oils on it, you stir with that. It's crazy. The cola becomes earthy and refined, and the salt inside there, it switches it up so much. And I actually am a fan of the Batanga now because I started getting ones that are made the right way.
Yeah. I have had a few of them. They're still not my favorite.
Yeah.
I can see why people enjoy them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep searching then.
Yeah, we're gonna keep searching.
We got to spend some time in Mexico together.
Yeah. I still haven't been there. I need to go. It's been on my list.
And the town of Tequila is the spot where the Batanga was really kind of like has
Yeah.
its origin story. And it's pretty special to go there in such a humble, small little space and try it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Again, would love to go there at some point. So one day. I'll
Yeah,
get there.
we're going to make it happen.
Sure. Cool. Well, where can people follow you if they have any questions? Like you go ahead and chat out where.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can check me out at Cup of Tequila on Instagram. That's CUPPATEA. Always throw T in there. You know that's my second love.
Yeah.
Tequila, QUILA. So
Yeah.
Cup of Tequila on Instagram. You'll see where we're going around the world, the country. You can also follow at Tequila Herradura as well. See what's going on there too. So you'll get a little bit of everything from around what's happening in the U.S., what's happening in Mexico, and then also our travels and our engagement with the industry, the trade, and bartenders, and all the exciting things that they're doing. We're trying to showcase there too.
I'm very excited for this year. If it's very trade focused, I'm curious to see what you have been working.
Absolutely. I mean,
with the team.
There's so much cool stuff going on, and each ambassador in their region are really taking ownership of what that story is too. So whether that's like partnering with the new trade shows that are going around the country mobily to ones like being here in Arizona at Arizona Cocktail Week. And then also just like programs built around helping new and upcoming bartenders find their passion
Yeah.
and find the part of the industry that they love too. So there's R&D workshops and that kind
Yeah.
of thing too.
That's awesome. So if a bartender reaches out to you, you also know where they can reach out to for like the local regional ambassadors,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Herradura, or is it what site should they?
Yeah, reach out directly to
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reach out directly to me. You can do that on Instagram, and I will point you in the right
Yeah.
direction. There's someone in almost every part of the country
Yeah.
that we can connect you with to explore some more.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, Will. I
Yeah, thanks,
appreciate you
Patrick.
being
It's
here
great
on the
to be
show.
here.
Yeah. And then we'll definitely hopefully get you in next time when we just do season 3 and talk a
Yes,
little
I
more.
can't wait, man. This is so
It's
much fun.
yeah. And again, thank you. I know you and I have been talking about it for almost a year now. And
Yeah, next.
you travel so much, so I appreciate you making time today.
Yeah, cheers.
Awesome. Thank you. Awesome, y'all. Well, thank you for joining us today on Cocktail Classified. Again, give us a follow at Cocktail Classified on all the usual socials, and we'll see you for the next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.